I mean, I see more insane people in the TV world than I have in his world. I mean, because I'd never lived with anyone.
What happens when the person who defined your past is gone, but never really leaves your story? Valerie Bertinelli lived in the shadows of fame, heartbreak, and reinvention, tied to one of the most iconic guitarists in rock history, yet always fighting to find her own rhythm. But what no one saw coming was how her real transformation didn't begin in the spotlight. It started in silence, behind closed doors, with everything falling apart. Again. From public divorces to private breakdowns, from glitzy Hollywood stages to nights battling anxiety alone, Valerie's journey is raw, haunting, and quietly triumphant. And buried inside it is a lesson about love, loss, and why healing doesn't look the way we think it should. The night they separated, a quiet truth hung unspoken. And this story has never been told that way before. What pushed Valerie Bertinelli and Eddie Van Halen apart after nearly 3 decades together? It looked like they had it all. A beloved TV icon and a guitar god. An unlikely fusion that in public shimmered with promise. But behind closed doors, their marriage unraveled in ways no tabloid ever explained. Valerie first became a familiar face in millions of homes, the girl next door with Golden Globes by 20 and sitcom fame to spare. She wasn't just acting, she became part of the living room fabric, comforting and grounded as Barbara Cooper on One Day at a Time. America welcomed her warmth, as if she were family. And in a world where authenticity felt rare, her genuineness stood out, until something powerful pulled her across an industry divide. Cue Eddie, a 26-year-old virtuoso smashing guitar conventions alongside his brother in Van Halen. He was raw energy incarnate, reinventing rock with blistering solos and defiant theatrics. Albums like Van Halen and 1984 didn't just sell. They rewrote the rules on what a guitar could do. Imagine crashing into each other's universes, his wild nights, her prim sets, and filling in the gaps neither knew existed. No wonder the press ate it up. The sensible TV star and an electrifying rock rebel, winning hearts separately, colliding spectacularly. They met in 1980, a fleeting encounter that sparked something neither expected. Within months, they'd wed, in April 1981. It felt inevitable, magnetic almost. But chemistry in sound bites and the real world are entirely different. Their honeymoon phase blurred into hectic work rhythms. Valerie found herself flying between shoots and Eddie's tours, chasing a connection that dance cards wouldn't accommodate. Behind that facade, the couple began drifting. She craved stability. He thrived in unpredictability. Unlike the images people saw, love isn't always enough to bridge worlds. The relentless grind, her 12-hour TV days, his night-after-night concerts, created a chasm bigger than fame. And no matter how much they loved each other, the distance widened. Then shockwaves hit. Eddie's struggle with addiction intensified. What might have started as recreation spiraled into daily dependence. Hook. At its worst, his habit turned private pain into invisible walls. For Valerie, it became a storm she couldn't shelter from. Her love morphed into caretaking, doctor visits, late-night calls, promises repeated until they lost meaning. In 2000, another blow, Eddie's cancer diagnosis. Doctors removed a large portion of his tongue, a devastating setback for a vocalist and instrumentalist. Publicly, fans only glimpsed quick updates. But privately, his fight was relentless, and so was her loyalty. She juggled it all, treatment schedules, insurance paperwork, while still heads down on TV sets. The roles reversed. The bright sitcom star became a shadow backstage, tending to their fragile life. Love alone didn't shield them from pain. With Eddie peeling away in silence, Valerie felt alone in a house full of ghosts. Hook. Loneliness isn't just about empty rooms, it's about missing the person next to you. In those moments, they both made choices that left scars. Eddie turned to liquid escape. Valerie turned inward, and eventually, away. Their unraveling wasn't clean. Both stepped outside the marriage seeking comfort. Valerie later admitted an affair during their darkest season, driven not by betrayal but desperation, for affection, for affirmation. When press headlines zeroed in on her weight gain, shame came cheap. She was pilloried for external appearance, when internally she was crumbling. Her coping mechanism? Food. Tabloids wrote it off. She lived it. But in the embers of their collapse, hope flickered. Valerie stayed, even as the marriage frayed. She supported Eddie through rehab stints, despair, offers of help. He would sometimes hit a week, a month, enough to reignite hope. Hook. What's more tragic than love unreturned? Perhaps when hope becomes its own kind of torture. Their separation came gradually, hardly a fiery moment, but a slow erosion of connection. She stayed in the house longer than comfort allowed. He tolerated proximity until confrontation broke. They mediated the split without lawyers, on purpose, dividing life with quiet dignity for their son, Wolfgang. Even then, their love quietly anchored them. They remained amicable, co-parenting until Eddie's death. That bond, though fractured, never vanished. Fast forward to now, and Valerie's speaking openly about it all. She's no longer just the girl from TV. She's a cook, an author, a survivor, a woman who learned through heartbreak that self-care isn't selfish. In recent interviews on The Drew Barrymore Show, she's credited heartbreak for growth, admitting, "Maybe my old wounds got in the way." She learned not to blame, to seek empathy over blame. Her transparency cuts through glossy celebrity tropes, offering real lessons on resilience. She's also sharing light-hearted truths, like her request to Wolfgang that no Van Halen biopic come out while she's alive. "Make sure I'm dead," she joked. "And if someone portrays her?" "Selena Gomez," she quipped, "but please don't do it." It's a cheeky self-awareness wrapped in grief and humor, a sign that she's both healing and self-aware. Eddie, as Valerie reminds fans, wasn't just a bad boy. He was a loving father, a brilliant musician who struggled with substances but was never evil. Hook. What if the man you loved was both your hero and your heartbreak? It's a tension Valerie faces and expresses with honesty. Their story isn't finished, it's ongoing. Valerie is dating again, cautious but open, crediting therapy and long walks for a rebirth of the heart. It's a journey from romantic collapse to self-discovery, from mourning a marriage to celebrating personal growth. Their separation wasn't a dramatic spectacle. It was quieter, gentler, and somehow more unsettling. After years of pain, care, and misdirected devotion, the final unraveling of their relationship came softly, almost unnoticed. Could absence speak louder than a headline? In 2001, whispers of trouble were already circling, but nothing prepared fans for the calm confirmation. After 26 years, the golden couple would quietly part. They didn't need lawyers or public feuds. A simple announcement was enough. And after the statement, silence. For 6 years, that made headlines. Nothing. Even the formal divorce in December 2007 passed without fanfare. Valerie, once a staple in homes across America, withdrew deeper into her private world. Away from red carpets and cameras, she invested everything she had into raising Wolfgang and crafting a life untouched by celebrity noise. What if healing needed distance from the spotlight? Without her usual roles, she became invisible, except to those who knew where to look. As the years wore on, speculation filled the gaps. Was it Eddie's rock and roll lifestyle? Rumors swirled of emotional abandonment, growing irreconcilable differences, even infidelity. Why does silence breed its own narrative? Fans replayed every joint public appearance, parsing tension in smiles and distance in hugs. Yet Valerie remained silent, letting the absence of answers fuel curiosity. Maybe no explanation could ever cut through 2 decades of unresolved emotion. The real reckoning began in 2008, when Valerie released Losing It, her first memoir. Unfiltered, raw, and heartbreaking, she bared the emotional tremors beneath the surface. She didn't just confirm Eddie's long struggle with addiction. She unpacked how it hollowed her marriage over time. Instead of heroes and villains, she painted 2 wounded souls trying to hold on. Ever loved someone whose brilliance became their burden? She described the painful paradox: loving his talent, fearing his habits, wanting the man more than the myth. In Losing It, she admitted to an affair, not out of malice, but desperation. She craved the love that had slipped through the cracks of a marriage draining on emptiness. There was shame, regret, and longing wrapped into one. And then the therapy, her lifeline. Through candid reflections, she revealed how counseling taught her to untangle trauma, to sit with discomfort, and to stop blaming herself. What happens when your own needs get lost in love? This phase marked transformation, not defeat. In 2022, she followed with Enough Already, reflecting on how she'd idolized their youth, misunderstanding the foundation of their marriage. They were too young, ill-equipped, she wrote, entering a world of fame and addiction without tools or support. The revelation came in 2024 when she admitted the marriage had ended. Valerie's apologies in public interviews were measured and profound. On the Drew Barrymore show, she clarified, Eddie was a drug addict and alcoholic, but he wasn't a bad boy. She defended him against critics and fans who blamed him for their split. She even embraced being compared to Yoko Ono, noting that Van Halen had internal complexities and that she had no power to break the band. Could forgiveness ever be its own revolution? Even as she spoke of pain, her words carried healing. She announced she told Wolfgang not to greenlight any Van Halen biopic while she was alive. "Make sure I'm dead," she joked. That mix of humor and protectiveness revealed the care she still held. For her truth, for their story, for legacy. And in April 2025, she shared a nostalgic throwback from 1979. Just a glimpse into the life before fame, before fracture. What wisdom lies in glimpsing your past, before it was rewritten by headlines? Through candid conversations, she's also credited growing through her breakups. On the Drew Barrymore show, she recognized that neither divorce, Eddie's, nor her later split from Tom Vitale, was about blame, but about missing tools and entrenched trauma. She emphasized self-awareness and empathetic communication as cornerstones to healthier connections. Have you ever considered the power of communication over accusation? Meanwhile, Wolfgang quietly carried their legacy forward. He told little things he watched behind the music and saw not a soulmate love, but a tumultuous, human one. Nothing that would scream soulmate, he said. The most beautiful outcome, he added, was not their celebrity, but the son they created. His words echo the truth Valerie embraced. Their relationship wasn't a fairy tale, but it wasn't a failure either. It created something real and lasting. Today, he's embarked on his own path, quietly married, and continuing his musical journey with intention. And while the world saw less of Valerie in the interim years, she resurfaced as a storyteller of things that truly matter. Real emotion, real scars, and real recovery. Their parting was peaceful but profound, a quiet goodbye that spoke louder than any public spectacle. When Eddie passed in October 2020, Valerie shared a heartfelt tribute on Instagram, reflecting on how meeting him had changed her life forever, and how even after their divorce, they remained bound by something deeper than marriage. Her words revealed a bond that transcended roles, no longer husband and wife, yet tethered together by family, shared memories, and enduring care. Their final act together wasn't drama. It was mutual support in grief, a testament to love's unexpected forms. How do two people navigate grief when they've lived parallel lives? After Eddie's death, Valerie found herself again in the silence, facing life anew. The scene shifted swiftly. A new marriage in 2011 to financial planner Tom Vitale, meant to heal old wounds and bring calm after the storm. They built routines on better communication and mutual respect, and for a time, it looked like something beautiful had been reborn. But what happens when history repeats in quieter ways? By 2021, they separated, and a divorce was finalized in 2022. Valerie later admitted she stayed too long, believing love could mend everything, but realized that healing required courage beyond affection. Stepping into singlehood again, she turned inward. Therapy became a cornerstone, teaching her to set boundaries and embrace self-worth. She stopped drinking, prioritized mental health, and chose to speak out. In November 2024, she shared a raw video of an anxiety attack, hand visibly trembling, tears unleashed, heart racing, an act of vulnerability that resonated with thousands. Why let your darkest moment be seen? Because Valerie's message was clear. None of us are alone in our messiest, most human moments. Fans flooded comments, thanking her for her courage. Her openness sparked a wave of empathy. She didn't shrink from fear. She marched toward it. And the world noticed. By her 65th birthday in April 2025, she celebrated publicly, sharing that the light at the end of the tunnel is finally here, crediting therapy and self-care for guiding her toward genuine happiness. Could turning our pain into purpose be the key to true healing? Along the way came more shifts. A brief relationship with writer Mike Goodenough in mid-2024 ended gently by November, with mutual respect and gratitude marking its close. Their public candor, pressures, not lack of love, spoke volumes about her growth. She once relied on relationships to fill emotional voids. Now she knew resilience begins with self-love. She reclaimed her narrative. No longer defined by ex-husbands or public love stories, she was the architect of her destiny. Valerie's journey toward authenticity also manifested in her career. Known as America's sweetheart in the 70s and 80s TV landscape, she reinvented herself over the years, from sitcom star to Food Network darling to mental health advocate. Today, she anchors herself in emotional wellness, candid in interviews and on-screen about panic and recovery. What if celebrities led with vulnerability instead of image? Her voice offers signals of transformation and genuine empowerment. Their bond, preserved through parenthood and shared history, sets the tone for a story of transformation. From there, the pacing accelerates, introducing Valerie's second marriage to Tom Vitale. It doesn't present the relationship as a simple failure, but reveals it layer by layer, showing how hope, personal growth, and emotional baggage collided. Rather than focusing solely on conflict, the script reshuffles the sequence to build curiosity. How did someone so seasoned in love still face such painful choices? The divorce becomes a pivotal moment, not a defeat, as it launches Valerie into a rebirth fueled by therapy, sobriety, and advocacy. Her post-divorce life is depicted as a rising action, where she reclaims her identity beyond titles like wife or actress. Her decision to share a raw anxiety episode online in late 2024 becomes a powerful turning point, transforming her into a symbol for mental health awareness rather than just a nostalgic TV figure. The narrative uses this moment to challenge the audience. What if emotional openness is more courageous than image perfection? This leads naturally into her brief public romance with writer Mike Goodnow. Their breakup is treated with grace, reinforcing the recurring theme that personal evolution matters more than external validation. Within this thread, hooks are woven seamlessly into the dialogue. Questions like, can love survive transformation? Or, what does healing really cost? Subtly urge viewers to stay emotionally invested. And there's the legacy. Wolfgang Van Halen, the son of this turbulent but impactful union, emerged as a creative force. Wolfgang quietly replaced his father's stories with his own, bassist in Van Halen until 2020, then launching his solo project Mammoth WVH in 2021, with a follow-up in 2023, an identity forged in personal grief and musical ambition. At 32, he honors both past and future, a living bridge between rock legend and personal renewal. What does it mean to heal when your lineage is legendary? And now, when we look at Valerie's life, the financial and lifestyle picture is equally compelling. In her past, she had Hollywood earnings and later endorsement deals, including a high-profile Jenny Craig partnership. Today, she lives in well-appointed homes, California real estate, drives luxury SUVs, and sports designer watches, day-to-day reminders of her enduring success. She's built wealth through book deals, losing it enough already, TV contracts, and ongoing Food Network collaborations. Though no private jet appears in her public narrative, she's supported by robust insurance, health coverage, career protection, and life policies befitting someone in her position. Her financial lesson is clear: adaptability, diversified revenue, and self-investment in wellness form a smarter legacy than fame alone. Comparing past and present, Valerie once thrived on external validation, awards, press attention, relationships. Now, she's grounded in inner validation, a life shaped by lessons, boundaries, and emotional honesty. Eddie's public persona was blistering and boundaryless. Valerie's is introspective and intentionally framed. Both were iconic, but hers has matured into an empowering blueprint for resilience. She's no longer just the actress or the wife. She's a mentor, a voice for wellness, and a testament to the power of reinvention. In the final act of this story, Valerie stands not on a stage, but in her own life, ever-evolving, never perfect, undeniably human. She's still writing the next chapter, guided by truth rather than expectation. So here's the last question. In a world that glorifies comebacks, can we learn that sometimes the bravest triumph isn't what you show, but what you survive? Through decades of public adoration and personal loss, she learned that peace isn't something you find in someone else. It's something you build for yourself, day by day, choice by choice. Her story is a quiet revolution of letting go, starting over, and reclaiming your voice after years of being defined by others. If you've ever felt stuck in someone else's version of your life, Valerie's story might just show you a way out. If this moved you, hit that like button, drop a comment sharing your favorite moment, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this.